Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Peabody, and today Sherman and I are taking you for a ride in the Wayback Machine to 1978.
1978. Golly, Mr. Peabody. Why on earth are we going there, and with who?
Don't be dumb, Sherman. We are going back to 1978 with Eddie and Geo from Used Grooves podcast to visit the release of one of the greatest live rock and roll albums ever.
No way. Do you mean Thin Lizzy Live? And Dangerous, Mr. Peabody?
Don't be a knob, Sherman. Of course that's what I mean. So without further ado, Eddie and Geo, fire up the Wayback Machine because here we come.
Welcome to the Used Grooves podcast. We're in track number 1. My name is Eddie Ravenscar, and I'm stoked to be here. This podcast has been an effort, but it's been in the progress for a long time. I want to introduce my co-host for the evening and for the rest of the time that Used Grooves is on. He's come all the way from MMZ Radio, which is available at mmzradio.com for streaming. You can check out his show. He's the host of Transistor Radio. Please welcome Geo. Geo, how you doing today?
Eddie, if I was any better, I'd be twins. Wait a minute, I am a twin. If I was any better, I'd be illegal.
Illegal, huh? Well, that's quite a something to be. So what's new? Where are you at tonight, Geo?
I am at the beautiful Drury Hotel in Denver.
Denver, Colorado. Is it snowing there yet?
Not yet. It was snowing in Colorado Springs, I understand, this morning, but it hasn't made it to Denver yet.
Yeah, well, I'm okay without the snow right now. I don't want the high heat, but the snow I can handle. I can definitely handle. So tonight, let's welcome to track 1. We've been planning this forever, and I didn't get to listen to your show last week on Transistor Radio, which from what I understand has got a global following with several thousand people, and you're really big over in Europe. How does that make your head feel?
Well, it seems weird for me because, like you said, it seems that I have a bigger following in the UK and in Germany than I do here in the States. Got a few listeners up here in Denver and one or two that aren't related to me down in the deserts where I live. So Nice. It's kind of cool.
Nice. You also got quite a following back in Ohio, too, from what I understand.
That's a new one for me, but that's great.
Oh, okay. You didn't know that. Surprise!
Yeah, surprise.
Surprise. But yeah, England and the UK and everything over there, for whatever reason, I've been successful over there, and I've been able to tap into something, and everything I've done or, put my hands on, it's been successful, so I don't see why this shouldn't be either. It's a good thing here. What we're going to do is you and I think we discussed it, and based on your schedule and your traveling and my traveling, this is going to turn into like a bi-weekly podcast. And right now we're going to do it with just audio, and then maybe, go ahead, what?
It would be bi-monthly. Bi-weekly would be twice a week.
Well, that's what I meant, don't you know? Here, let me get some laughter in there.
All right.
There you go. I got this new board, and I'm learning how to program the sounds in it. So like when I hit the laughter button, there's like a second delay. So I've got to say something really stupid to fill that time in. But the laughter's there, and I've got a drum roll if we're ready to go. So here, this is what we'll do. Our first episode, track 1, will be... We are going to review and discuss Thin Lizzy, Live and Dangerous, the best live album, in my opinion, ever released. What do you think about that?
Well, there's a lot of controversy about it being a quote-unquote live album.
It doesn't matter. It's still the best.
Again, my best for anything like that, if you ask me my favorite album, it changed from today to day after tomorrow.
Right.
So best live album, definitely in the top 10, possibly in the top 4 or 5. Best live, that's a tough one for me.
I think I've got to go with this as number 1. And then, what was it we were talking about the other day for live albums that I can't even remember what it was. But there's this one I think is the best. I know what it was. Kiss Alive. It's their 50th anniversary this past Tuesday or Wednesday. So if that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what does. But yeah, Kiss Alive. And I know the story behind that. So that doesn't bother me. But the Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous is live. I know for a fact, I believe for a fact that is. And then another one that's really good, but it could be debated on if it was recorded or not, is UFO Strangers in the Night.
Those are all good albums. I would throw on top of those the Sensational Alex Harvey Band Live. That's an awesome, awesome album. And probably my favorite live album, I'm not saying it's the best, is probably the Michael Stanley Band Live Stage Pass from the Cleveland Agora.
Stage Pass is a good album, yeah. Rest in peace, Michael. Absolutely. But I do like Stage Pass. There's some good music on there. I really love, what's that, Jonah Coslin. What is it? Nothing's Gonna Change My Mind. Yes. I think that's it. Yeah.
Great cut.
Yeah, it's total commercial, and to me, that's one of the songs that described the 70s growing up in Ohio, was hearing that and Southside Johnny. But those are topics for another day. So let's go get into the way.
Wait a second.
What's that?
Live albums, Reach Up and Touch the Sky by Johnny and the Jukes.
Yeah, Southside Johnny. Got it, yeah. That's definitely in the top right there. We'll have to talk about that one another day too. But, dude, if we go back to Jersey and the Cleveland area and in the 70s, there's so much music to discuss there. We could spend days doing this discussion.
I think we will.
Yeah, eventually we will.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping this is going to last for a while. I don't think that 1 or 2 episodes is going to be enough because there's just so much music and so much to discuss. We need to get you a little more comfortable on the microphone because my mouth is getting dry from talking already, but that's okay. I'm a talker. Right. I'm a giver. So let's get in the Wayback Machine with Mr. Peabody, and we're going to take it all the way back. How far back are we going? 78. Okay. 1970, and this record, it is debated as one of the greatest live albums of all times. And I know you've got your issues. You want to say that there's some probably studio playing over that, but to me, it really doesn't matter because look at the lineup that was on this thing. You had Phil. God, I love Phil. Phil, well, Phil that's my dude right there. Scott Gorham on guitar, such an underrated guitar player. He should have never cut his hair. Him and Snowy White should have never cut their hair. But that's another story for another time. But you got Brian Robertson, and Brian Downey. What a monster of a band.
It takes me back. I go back a little further because I saw Thin Lizzy at the Agora when I was a senior in high school. Oh my God. 49 years ago. And I don't remember a lot of the show because I was 18 and drinking way too many Stroh's beers.
Right.
Because they were on sale that day. They were quarter beers. So a lot of those, I remember them being loud. I remember them having a shit ton of energy. And I do believe Gary Moore was traveling with him at that time. It was one of his stints with the band. Because as you know, and our listeners may or may not know, that Gary Moore was in the band. He left the band. He was in the band. He left the band. And then finally he left the band for good.
Right. It depended on the weather and whether he was going to play or not. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding was he would leave mid-tour, you know, so which is just not the right thing to do.
Well, I also heard right after this, I think it was Brian Downey got in an argument with Gary Moore, and he went to punch him, and he missed, and he hit the wall, and he broke his hand. So for the remainder of the tour, when Gary left, that was one of the reasons why Gary left, he had to sit there and play with a cast on his hand. So whether or not that happened, I don't know, but it's a cool story to think it did. So
that's the first I heard that story, so that's a new one for me. That's awesome. And I could believe it. Yeah, I was lucky enough, I saw them. I went to my Wayback Machine and actually called some friends and, do you remember the show or was I just thinking of it? But I saw them 3 times. I saw them at the Agora once. I saw them at the old Allen Theater in Cleveland, which was probably my favorite show with them.
That's still there, isn't it? I don't think they have
Yes, it
shows,
is.
but it's still there. Yeah.
They do plays there now, my understanding.
Do they?
Yeah, so it was there. And what was special about that was their opening act was AC/DC. And it was back when Bon Scott was still alive. And I very, very well remember Bon Scott throwing Angus Young up on his shoulders and doing a tour around the whole stadium or the whole theater while
the
they're
Devil
jamming.
Walk, yeah.
Yeah, and then
that's kind of like become iconic on so many T-shirts and everything.
Yeah, as good as they were, and they were awesome. Thin Lizzy, a hard act to follow. I think Thin Lizzy was a little better because they were a much tighter band. I think energy-wise, AC/DC may have been a little better than them. And then the last time I seen them, which if you've ever been to one, or there's
World Series of Rock,
88,000 people, and that was more an event than anything. And I want to think they were third to the last. I think Journey was the last. I think it was 2 bands and then AC/DC. I think the Scorpions and then Journey. And I quite frankly thought that not AC/DC, Thin Lizzy was the best act of that particular World Series of Rock.
Wasn't Peter Frampton the headliner for that one?
I thought Journey was, but it might have been Frampton.
I don't think Journey ever headlined the World Series of Rock. I know Bob Seger did. I know ELO did. I know Fleetwood Mac did. And I know Peter Frampton did. And the Stones and the Beach Boys.
Then it must have been Peter Frampton that headlined that band, that show. Okay. That's when I was living in Newton Falls, Ohio. At 4444 4th Street.
I don't even know where that's at, and I'm from that area. So
it's up by Youngstown.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So, but what's cool about this album here, it just brings back such a flood of memories. Even just now, we've just spent the last 15 minutes just digging in the dirt, which is fun as hell. This itself was recorded at Hammersmith Odeon, which is legendary itself for Rush and Motorhead and Eric Clapton and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen.
Bob Seger. I think Todd Rundgren was there.
Sure.
At one time.
Sure, and it was also recorded in Toronto, Philadelphia, and London. So it's pretty much around the world a recording. They say there's so many. Well, I'm reading it right now. I'm looking at the breakdown about the overdubs and the pure energy of it. You can just hear the crowd because, you can listen to some live albums and you can tell that the audience participation is just piped in, and it sounds boring. A perfect example for a great band, the Dio years, was Black Sabbath. They had their album Live Evil come out, and it just sucked. I'm probably going to get hammered by a Black Sabbath fan for that one, but it did. It just sucked. This album, from side A, it came out kicking with Jailbreak, then right into Emerald and Southbound, and then, as we talked about before, Bob Seger, Rosalie. What a way to start a show with Jailbreak and then go straight into Emerald, which is surprising because you would think Jailbreak would be towards the end of the set, but it's not. It's at the beginning.
I think all 3 times I saw them, Jailbreak was their opening. When you think about it, you want to grab a band or a crowd when you first walk on stage. You've been on stage before, as have I. Obviously, just bars for me. But you want to grab the crowd with your very first song, because if you get them in their first 2 or 3 songs, you'll hold them all night. So they came out and they just punched you in the eye.
Sure.
It's like, you will listen to me. I agree. The overdubs, there or not, I don't know. I know I've read too many years that they were. I think the crowd sounds very, very energetic. I don't think the music is energetic as what I remember them being when I was there live. That's why I think the overdubs may be there. It's almost like too perfect.
Sure, just to clean it up.
And I know there's things live that there's not a bit of feedback.
Right.
You don't hear any wallow. You don't hear anybody missing a note. It's just too perfect. So I know they were a good band and they were a tight band.
But nobody's perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, this was recorded when Phil and Scott were heavily into their self-medicating, so to speak.
Right.
And so, and if that's the case, they were both riding the dragon. There's no possible way they could have played this without making some sort of mistake or some vocal pitch or something going on. But I still love it. I think honestly, I was introduced to this album before I was introduced to Kiss Alive. And that says a lot.
Especially for you being a big Kiss fan when you were growing up.
Yeah. Well, all of us were Kiss fans because, they painted their face up and all that crap like that. But,
because your parents hated them.
Right? Yeah.
No, it's for me, if I know they have a greatest hits album out, but it's like, why would you buy that when you could get the greatest hits basically live?
Right. Exactly.
Definitely my favorite Lizzie album. It's, one of my top 10, like I said, top 10 live albums. And as you know, I've been around a little bit longer than you.
Quite a bit longer, but we won't go down that road.
Hey, take off, poser. Yeah, I've been to quite a few shows and quite a few LPs, etc. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite Lizzie album. My favorite part of it is, as I recall, even seeing them live, is when they break into the Bob Seger cover of Rosalie, because they did it so much better than Seger did it.
Absolutely. And that's hard.
To say.
Yeah.
Seger, in his own rights, is awesome live. And then to end it all the time with the Cowgirl song, which you always just wanted them to jump into Cowboy song right after it.
Sure.
But they waited and held off on that for a while. Again, one of my favorite albums live, top 10, top 4. I just don't think that the band has the energy that they had the 3 times I seen them live.
Sure. Well, unfortunately, I can't say that I saw them live. And every time we get together and music comes up, you have to rub my nose in it. So, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what, self-proclaimed favorite uncles do.
Right. But that's okay because I honestly think, because there's bands that I've seen that I couldn't wait to see, and then I seen them and I was so disappointed and it ruined me for the rest of my life. So by not seeing Thin Lizzy, I think it makes it more of a favorite band to me, just simply because that image has never been tarnished.
Right. I concur. For me, there was one particular act I couldn't wait to go see. It was a friend of mine's sister who I was promised, she was 2 years younger than me. When she turned 18, we were going to go out on a date. One of the few times I rented a limo, went to the Coliseum in Richfield, watched about half the show, was bored out of our skull, and went out bar hopping.
Sure. What band was this?
That was Neil Young. Us Never Sleeps. Yeah. I couldn't wait. I loved the LP when it came out. I loved Neil Young. Well, a lot of reason I loved it is because of his band. Crazy Horse was a really good band. I mean, Niels was in the band. If Niels is in the band, it's going to be good.
Right, Niels Lofgren.
Such a boring show that halfway through the show, we left.
I went and seen John Mayer several years ago, and that was the same effect I had because he's such a phenomenal guitar player.
Right.
And first of all, we went and seen him at, it used to be the America West Arena, downtown Phoenix, which sucks for concerts because the sound is just absolutely horrible there. And then on top of that, the place was nothing but college kids. And I'm just a tad older than a college kid, so they're all drunk and being stupid, so it kind of put a damper on things. He came out, and it was just horrible. I think it was after 3 or 4 songs, we just decided, you know what, I would rather go watch Tom and Jerry cartoons, and we left. That was one of the very few times that I've ever left a concert, just simply because usually I can find something that I like. Like I've been to God strike me down for this one, but I've been to some country shows with other people, and I focused in on the bass player or the guitar player or the sound
Right.
person. There's always something you can find. On that show, the only thing I could focus on was the freaking exit door. You know,
So back to this album.
that Graham Parker and the Rumors were opening up for them on this tour.
I did. And also, Huey Lewis actually played harmonica for the band on this tour.
Absolutely. That was really a shocker to me because when I first heard that, it was, I think, back in the 80s when he was in his prime and
Right.
4 came out, and I kept bragging about Thin Lizzy and, oh, they're so great,
Right.
they're so great. They're like, well, yeah, well, Huey played harmonica on them. And I'm like, no,
I think I might have told you that way back then when.
Yeah,
I don't know if I did or not.
It
But,
probably was, but it just, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. If I'm looking at the album right now, and there's so many names on here that are just like Graham Parker, and their manager was Frank Murray at the time, which such an underrated guy. And
it wasn't their sax player, wasn't it? It was from Graham Parker's band, was
Yeah.
sax player.
yeah.
I can remember it was that or Roxy Music.
No, it was Graham Parker. You know what's funny is I was going to say his name was Wendell Newton, and it wasn't Wendell Newton. Wendell Newton was from Eddie and the Cruisers.
Right. Hey. Yeah, I thought it was Eddie McCabe, who was from from Roxy.
Roxy's another good band too, very underrated.
It was a super glam band. They were really good back in the day too.
Yeah. Well, Brian Ferry's got a magical voice, though.
Oh yeah, that is. And back in the day, it's like if you read 007 books rather than see the movie,
Right.
Brian Ferry was 007. He was just
yeah.
how they said he looked.
Sure.
Tall, large, suave.
Debonair. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This album, the song again, Rosalie is probably my favorite. I always love Cowboy Song because who doesn't love Cowboy Song? I mean, it's just
Right.
an awesome cut. Their biggest hit, of course, was The Boys Are Back in Town. Special song for me because I left Ohio and went to Arizona, came back to Ohio sometime later, my second time, I think. And one of my buddies picked me up at the airport. And he had his 8-track all set to play The Bitch Is Back.
Right.
He jumped in the car, cranked it up, and before he could pop the 8-track in, MMS was on, because, of course, that's what we all listened to back in the day.
Right.
And
The
what
thundering
song came
buzzer.
on?
The boys
What
are back
song
in
came on?
town.
The Boys Are Back in Town. So
That's
it's like,
right.
yeah, you couldn't write it better in a movie script.
Absolutely. And you know what that song was supposed to be called, right?
No.
It was supposed to be called G.I. Joe, and it was actually written for the people and the guys coming back from the Vietnam War. And
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they their label, I think it was the label or somebody along the line said that right then the political climate was too hot and everything, so they wanted to change the title to something that they could promote. And if you listen to the words, you know, starting from the beginning, they're back.
Yeah.
And guess who just got back today? You know, it's and it goes on.
Now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, G.I. Joe was the name. And I'm so glad, honestly, that they changed it because that's such a stupid name.
Yeah, do that is like G.I. Joe's back. Does he have Kung Fu grip?
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Or one of the terrible movies that came out in the 2000s.
Yeah, the
you know?
Action Jackson figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, though, on this album, my all-time favorite, and it's been since I was in high school and beyond, and even to this day, is Still in Love with You.
I like that very much, but there's something about that song when I hear it, and I don't know if I'm being picky, but the first time I heard it, Gary Moore played it, and I know he's done it on some of his solo albums, and there's something about the way that man bends a string.
Sure.
That Gorham and Snowy and all those guys are great, but if Gary was playing the guitar, it'd probably be my favorite.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Oh, totally does. Totally. I just love the song. I love, as you were saying, the guitar solo on it. And I was going to mention Gary Moore. He did a version of it Blues and Ballads, I believe the CD was, or the album was, and he did a version on there. Absolutely amazing. Gary Moore was another very underrated guitarist.
Well, you and I've gone through that for years, that there's so many underrated six slingers, and the best one in the world's probably still playing in a bar for 25 people.
Right.
And door.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Absolutely. But this album, from start to finish, it just blows your head off. From, and I don't know if what I should do is go on setlist.fm and actually look up a set list for a change instead of just thinking. And I wonder if this is the actual set list that they went, or if they pieced it together to kind of like,
that would be interesting. If I were a betting man, I'd say it was pieced together.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting. If it was all from one night or two nights, like MSB's was 3 nights at the Agora.
Right.
That was pretty much the set list. Different cities, different continents.
Yeah. I kind of wonder. It's also back then too, though. I don't know. You can probably answer this one. Like today, everything is all digital and electronic with the lights and all that crap. And back then, that didn't exist.
No.
So they have to program in the set list and the song for everything to go the way it's supposed to.
Now they do. Then it was a manual. So just like changing a set list on the fly, your sound man knew, or your light man knew what he was going to do with whatever song. So hell, I'm supposed to play The Boys Are Back in Town, but you know what? We're going to play Southbound instead. And the light man already had his cues. And you said, and usually, as you know, bands would have cues, like little sentences between songs, that they would let their light man, their sound man, know what was coming next. Like one of the bands I played in, if I heard I'm going to wet myself, that meant an REO Speedwagon song was coming next. Yep, that was coming next. Okay. It usually wasn't meant on the set list, but that was coming next because the mood was right for it.
So it is possible. I knew if Springsteen did it, would play on the fly on every show. It didn't matter.
Right.
But Springsteen really didn't have an elaborate light set because his show was just full of energy anyway.
Right.
So
neither did ZZ Top. They had the basic lights, basic colored lights, nice follow spot on Phil. Drove me insane at the Allen Theater because I was at the right place where Phil's pickguard was a mirror.
Right,
and
he
would use that spotlight and blinded my ass. And I was with a gal named Louise, we called her Louie, who was like one of the most gorgeous creatures on earth. And for about 30, 40 minutes, I saw nothing but blue dots when I'd rather been looking at Louie. No.
That's crazy. You did say ZZ Top, but you meant Thin Lizzy, right?
Thin Lizzy, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. It just took me a second. So I'm looking at the album right here, and the closing song on here is The Rocker. Do you think? Yeah, it's a well, every song of theirs was great, but do you think that's a justifiable closer?
That would be, to me, no, that would be like if you're, even though you're doing one long set, you still break it up into sets.
Right.
You get your hard drive to start, you kind of mellow it, then you drive, and then you slow at the end. That would be either an end or a beginning to a second set, or possibly even an encore. I can see The Rocker being an encore.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Almost, well, even The Boys Are Back in Town. Like we were talking about, this is probably not the true set list because Boys Are Back in Town is on side 3 or on disc, side 3. So in reality, Boys Are Back was probably an encore, if I'm not mistaken, being that was their biggest hit.
Right. What followed Boys Are Back on the set list on this? Do you remember?
Don't Believe a Word, then Warrior, and Are You Ready? Which Are You Ready should have went earlier.
Right. I would have thought that would have been like basic set 2 or movement 2.
Sure.
Are You Ready? Again, that's the producer's job, is to put them in order and hopefully that the artists buy into it. Yeah. And back in the day, the producer had a whole lot more power than they do now.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Everything we don't even want to discuss music today. It's just so ridiculous. So anyway, and what's crazy about this album, it after all these years, it's what, 76, we're coming up on 50 years. Can you believe that? It's crazy. But this album has held up, whether it's live, whether it's overdubbed, whether it's underdubbed, whatever the hell it is, it's held up. And that's a testament for Philo. Let's get out our red Converse and let's hear it for Philo. Two pair.
I have 2 pair.
And let's hear it for Philo, because it's a shame that everything had happened to them that prevented them from being hugely successful in the States. Because overseas,
they were. Yeah, they were huge. But there's I could think of a handful of acts that never really hit here, but were legendary there. Some of them are American acts that were bigger there than here, and vice versa.
Well, I know Angel with Punky Meadows and Frank Diano and Greg Giuffria. They were huge overseas, and let's face it, they were no Thin Lizzy, and they weren't great. But still, they had a great following overseas, and you can almost picture the two of them sharing the stage. I think it would have been a good show. What really surprised me, and if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me, was Thin Lizzy opened for Queen one night.
I believe that. I had read somewhere that AC/DC opened for Thin Lizzy back in 77, I think it was, when I saw him at Allen. And then like 2 years later, after Bon Scott died, and what's his name? What's AC/DC?
Brian Johnson?
Yeah, Brian came on board. They flipped the page, and Thin Lizzy opened for AC/DC. Now, for me, that's hands down wrong. I mean, AC/DC is a good band. Thin Lizzy was a better band.
Sure.
Personal opinion. I sit there, and again, this album, I don't know if I have this in vinyl anymore. I know you do.
Yeah.
I know I've had it in vinyl. I have it on CD. I have it on bootleg CD because I bootlegged it off of vinyl or off of a cassette somewhere. So I've had it in all 3. My very first vinyl I know was a first edition. And the reason I don't think I had it, I know you may remember when I first moved to Arizona, I had all my albums stolen out of my house that one year.
I remember that from the Blue Room.
Those were all first editions.
Yeah.
So.
And if I'm not mistaken, and I probably could be wrong, but I don't think I am, that is where, up in the Blue Room, where your albums were at, that I first discovered the Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous album, was going through there. There was that, and another one that sticks in my head is Boz Scaggs and Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
Boz Scaggs just turned 80 the other day, so happy birthday, Boz.
Yeah, happy birthday. Keep doing it, please.
The man still has.
Right? Yeah. When he starts singing Lido, I kind of get chills. It's
like, you know who that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's Boz.
Yeah. One more thing, though, that I want to say about this album, which unfortunately, because they don't really make vinyl anymore, is it's the gatefold, kind of like Kiss Alive and Kiss Alive 2. It opens up and it's got the pictures in it. I remember the first time I got this album, it obviously wasn't the first edition, but I remember sitting up in my bedroom and cranking this and just looking at the pictures. I even had one of those little, remember the 110 cartridge cameras?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the 110. Yeah. I had one of those, and I snuck a roll of film from church, and I put it in there, and the little pictures that were inside of the gatefold, I tried to take pictures of those, so that way I had them and as little whatever they were, 3x5s or whatever.
Right.
And I had plans that when they got developed, if they came out looking good, I was going to tell everybody that I went to the
you were
show.
there.
Yeah, and but unfortunately the pictures turned out like shit. But it was a good idea.
Digital.
But that's one thing that I truly think is lost. It's a lost art, is album cover art, because especially now digital. It's
everybody's streaming it. I'm sorry, personal opinion again. Streaming overall is crap.
Right.
That's a personal opinion.
I like streaming for traveling because it's convenient and easy.
Right.
But like to listen, like today I've got my Heavies headphones on, which we are endorsed by the way. So they're Heavies, they're great for heavy metal, great for hard rock. They're just amazing headphones, and the link is below if anybody's interested. Get yourself 20% off. Give us a little bit of kickback. We'll get Geo a set of Heavies because we're sponsored and endorsed by him. And the link's below. So if you need a good set of headphones, do that. Also, we've got to go ahead and pump out Sticker Mule. And I was really surprised when they reached out to me, actually, to endorse us or support us, and told me about all the stuff that they do, creating banners and T-shirts, not only just stickers, but just about everything on the gamut. And they do have a no minimum order, which is pretty amazing. Like if you just want to get 1 or 2 T-shirts, you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for them. And they're pretty quick, and the quality is really good. So the link's down below for that. You'll also save 20% on there and free shipping. So check them out. So, support the people that support us. So
with that being said, I'll be ordering up some transistor radio with Uncle Geo stickers coming up here.
There you go. Why don't you tell us about that? Tell us about the show. When is it on? Do you have a podcast? Who's your producer?
I have both. It's produced basically by Ravenscar Productions. And Muzzle Records, if they're still around and about. It's one of those weird things. I got offered a radio show by a different station and a different record company. They got in a pissing match with Muzzle. Muzzle took over, started their own radio show, offered me a show, said I could play anything I want. I go, can I play polkas? And they said, for sure you can.
If you can spell it, you can play it.
Exactly. So it's 2 hours Sunday, 2 o'clock Eastern time on mmzradio.com. And I did into the crates of my, I don't know, a couple, 4,000 CDs and LPs and pull out B-sides, deep cuts, a hit or two. Never know what I'm going to play. We play a game. Who did it better? Game show taking America by storm. We play the same cut by 2 artists. Same cut by 2 artists, and you guys tell us who did it better for imaginary prizes, of course.
Yay, imagine it. We should start doing something for real prizes. Talk to them about stickers or something like that. Mm-hmm. Just something to go.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun. I'd like to say anything you hear on the show, we're not streaming anything. It's off of actual LPs or actual tapes or CDs.
And they're all from your collection.
Yeah, it's all my collection.
That's pretty amazing that you can do a show. And how long has your show been on for?
We just celebrated 3 years, so that's approximately 210 shows, 208 shows.
You sure?
That's right. We're in our 4th year. You're right. 4th year. 208 shows. I figured it out. It's about 25 to 30 songs, so about 12,000 songs over the years.
That's pretty amazing, and it all comes from your collection.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Tune in, give it a listen.
What about your podcast?
Available on podcasts. It is available wherever you get podcasts. Again, while we're talking about my podcast, got to talk about you were talking about streaming and traveling. My favorite thing to stream when I travel is Creepy Coffee. It's another podcast. I very much enjoy that while I'm sitting on a plane. Don't have to listen to the pilot or little kids crying. I listen to ghoulish stories and hear about coffee.
Yes, Creepy Coffees is definitely one to check out. And I'm just a little impartial of that one because I'm the host of it, of course. I'm Eddie Ravenscar, and that's one of my podcasts that I have. We do true crime. We do horror stories. I've even got to the point now where I've been approached by a publisher, and I'm writing a book of short stories that will be out at the end of October, right around the Halloween time. So I'm real excited about that. You can check out the website, creepycoffees.com, for information on that. We're scheduled. We've been invited to 4 or 5 different horror conventions up this upcoming year coming, and we'll be in Chicago on November 21st to the 23rd for the Day of the Dead horror convention. So if you're out in the area, come and check us out. Say hi. We're going to have a bunch of stickers, some T-shirts, some free swag, and we're even getting ready. I spoke with the roaster today. We're actually going to have Creepy Coffee. So you'll be able to get your 100% Arabic or whatever it is, or the decaf or whatever, and come get your book, get your mug, get your coffee, and see how we blend coffee culture with horror. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So my question for you.
Yes.
Well, we're going back to this album. Okay.
Her
again,
name was Brenda Mitchell. No, sorry. Go ahead.
I had this on the very first printing. I remember getting it. Remember what's the name of the record store by Jeff
North Coast.
Glasses?
North Coast.
I got it there. Okay, so many of my albums came from there. So now I'm sitting there. If I don't have it in vinyl, should I go and buy used? Should I buy a reissued? Or should I hold off until I can find another first edition?
My opinion on that is I just got a first edition for Christmas this last year, and it's in the container. It's protected and everything, but I'm also going to get a reissue just simply because I want to keep my original first edition in premium prime condition. I'll never sell it because it was a gift for me, and I absolutely love it, and I'll never sell it. But I do love the sound of the vinyl, so I would recommend getting yourself a re-edition or a second or a third, and from that point on, you could probably pick one up for a couple dollars. It's probably in rough condition. Listen to that one, and then for your collection, I would recommend going to get the high-end and one. That way you've got one for your collection. If you're a serious... Go ahead.
If you're a casual listener, I would say, used or reissue is great, even a CD version.
Right.
To me, CDs are a bit too sterile, but nonetheless, I have a lot of them. But if you're a serious collector, this is one that should be a first edition.
Absolutely.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But get yourself another copy so that way you're not ruining the grooves on your first edition and you're not damaging the spine opening like I do. I open them and I just gaze into them and daydream. And,
I know you've been known to drool a little bit on them too. Oh, that was Roxy Music albums. Never mind.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I still have my 110 camera, so I'm still going to try to take pictures of it. So, yeah. With that, I don't know what else to say except get it.
Yeah, I say that. And I will say in the thumbnail, it was a good show by a good band, great selection of songs. Again, I think it's a greatest hits album, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
And everybody who likes rock and roll should own this album.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you haven't heard it, shame on you. Go download it right now, listen to it, and then buy it. Whatever you got to do. You need to hear the album, period. Cut and dry.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah,
I said at one time or another, I owned it in vinyl. I owned it on cassette. I owned it on CD. So it's like, if I owned it that many times, it must be pretty freaking good.
Absolutely. And one thing I do want to point out, and we're not getting kickback from this either, when you do go out and buy used records online and the internet, because a lot of people do and it's convenient, be careful. I've bought stuff that wasn't real, so be very cautious. What I have found to be very legitimate place to go is Discogs. I don't know. I think you've got your catalog on there. And
some of my catalog on there. I'm cataloging as we go
sure,
through.
That will be a never-ending thing. But they're very reliable, and they stand by their stuff. That and check out the small little record stores in the houses. Keep mom and pop shops alive.
Oh,
Best Buy no longer sells anything. So
being down in the valley, and you lived there in the past, you can never go wrong going to Zia's.
Right. Right.
And I know we're not getting anything from Zia's, but
Yet.
they've got a good selection of both new and used albums.
Sure.
Another great place to check it out, but you got to double check very hard, is Goodwill.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah. Goodwill and Savers. A lot of those places like that. I was talking to a guy out in the UK. I can't remember the name of his record store, but I'll put the link below in case they want to check it out. And he was telling me that that's where 90% of his store inventory comes from. He goes 3 times a week to the used places, and the people that sell on the streets will have records and stuff out there, and he'll pick them up for $1 and flip them for 15 and 20 bucks. And it's true. Yeah, you just got to keep your eyes open. And that's one of the good things about vinyl collecting that maybe one day we'll talk about is the finds you can have. And
And truthfully, now, as streaming has become the most popular, you can do that with CDs, too.
Yeah.
You find a lot of CDs for $1.
And you've got it for your collection. So I highly recommend that and recommend keeping your eye open. If you have any questions or you want to know if something's legitimate or not, contact myself or Geo. You can email us on here. I'll put the link below as well and say, hey, is this legitimate or not? And we'll tell you what we think. We got all kinds of knowledge going on, don't we, Geo?
Well, I went to the College of Rock and Roll Knowledge, got a PhD in R&B.
There you go.
Thank you, Peter Wolf, for that.
And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and take the needle off the record and let it go ahead and spin to a silence. Geo, thanks for being on here tonight. I look forward to our next episode. I don't know what we're going to do because we haven't really discussed it yet, but this was a lot of fun, and I hope people that listen to it enjoy it.
One last thing. I already think I know what you're going to grade it, okay? So anytime you're doing some kind of, talking about an album or whatever or a book, you have to grade it. We're not going to do A, B, C, D. This is used grooves. So how many grooves, 1 to 5, 5 being the best, are you going to give this album?
Wow. Well, it would take an act of God to have a 5 groove, but I'm going to have to give it 4.5 grooves. Just for the simple fact that there is that questionability. Is it all live or is there overdubs on it? If we had a definitive answer that it was live, I would definitely give it 5 grooves. But because there's that question mark in there, I can only go 4.5.
I look at it this way. Overdubbed, I don't know. My favorite cut would probably be Rosalie when I think about it. I give it a good solid 4.5 grooves also. If I was going to purchase it, used LP would be my first way, CD second. Streaming would be the last way, but again, don't have a love for streaming.
Sure.
And again, it must be good because I've owned it on vinyl, cassette, and now on CD. I don't think I ever had it on an 8-track. So, what do you think? What do you think for our next LP? I mean, I sent you a list of some of my favorites. I don't know if you have it handy because I don't. Do we want to do another live album or do we want to do something fusionish? Or do you got any thoughts?
You know what? Since we talked about it a little bit today, let's do Stage Pass.
Sounds like a plan to me. Right. I will start to. I have to pull it out and listen to it a couple times.
No. Better. Oh my goodness. Blow Your Face Out by Jay Giles.
Oh man.
Yeah, we all got stories about that.
All worth it. Yeah. All right. Blow Your Face Out live in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. So with that being said, adios, people. Leave your records standing up, put them in the sleeve, and keep them out of the sun.
Ditto.
Good night.
And good night.
Wow.